Hello everybody and welcome to DC Central, and in today's video we are going to be breaking down and reviewing Arrow Season 7 Episode 22, otherwise known as the season finale, otherwise entitled You Have Saved This City. And if you have not seen this episode, make sure you go and do that before you watch this review, as it will be filled to the brim with spoilers. So here we are, we've arrived at the season finale of Arrow for Season 7, the last real season finale for the show, before we wrap up, because obviously the next finale we're going to be getting is of course the series finale, and it's a massive deal that we're now here. This is the first show of the Arrowverse to finish this season, so this is really exciting. So with all that out of the way, let's dive into it. And I'd just like to quickly thank you guys for all the support on all of the Arrow reviews this season throughout Season 7. I hope you guys enjoyed all of that. And obviously make sure you stay tuned and stay subscribed to the and also hit the notification bell, as the next Arrow videos we'll be making will be for Arrow Season 8. So make sure you don't miss any of that content. So this episode picks up pretty much immediately where episode 21 left off. We see Team Arrow get assaulted by the cops, and they basically run off and escape, and they go back to the bunker, and we actually get the whole team reunited here. And this was actually really cool to see everyone here, because not only did we have, you know, the typicals like Oliver, Diggle, Felicity, Roy, Dinah, and Renee, but we also had a few returning characters here too. We had Ben Turner, aka Bronze Tiger. We also had Curtis here, and we also had Laurel coming back from Earth 2. So it was really awesome just to have this team together. Like I say, they go back to the bunker. We see Curtis come back for this episode. We see Laurel come back for this episode, and then they officially go out, and that's when Bronze Tiger comes in. It's just really awesome. Like, this was a really awesome looking, fully formed Team Arrow, like I say, with some real fan favorites in there, like Bronze Tiger. Curtis coming back was really nice. To have Curtis there felt really cool, because obviously we haven't had Curtis for half the season, so it was nice to have him there. And of course, you guys know how much I love Black Siren, and seeing her in this episode with the, you know, original OG Laurel Black Canary suit, it looks so good. It was really great to have her there. Katie Cassidy was great here. Unfortunately, Laurel doesn't get that much to do in this episode, but still, it was awesome just to have her there. Now, the team are going out there to stop Emiko, of course, and this was really interesting because, obviously, we had, on the one side, we had Oliver going after Emiko, and then we had the rest of the team kind of dealing with the Ninth Circle. Really good action in this scene, I have to say. The direction was really good, especially the fight with Diggle, Roy, and Bronze Tiger. That fight was really well done, really well handled, and really well directed. This episode was directed by James Bamford, so, you know, you kind of expect that from him. But that was a really cool fight. But then we have Oliver and Emiko, and their fight was also really well handled and really well directed. Now, this is where the problems come in with this finale, because this finale is a bit messy overall, but we'll get into it. Now, the stuff with Emiko has obviously been something that I've not been too happy about this season. I felt like it's just been, you know, very messy. It's not been very well written. It's been a bit kind of shoehorned in towards the end with all the Emiko stuff. And in this episode, they try to give Emiko, like, a redemption, but it happens so sporadically, and then happens right at the very end of basically her life. And literally, her redemption is literally her dying in Oliver's arms. And it just doesn't fit. Like, I'm sorry, like, Emiko was not at the point of redemption. Like, this isn't like the redemption arc that Laurel's had this season. It was very different to that. And also, I don't really feel like Emiko is that redeemable. Like, last episode, she dropped a building on Oliver and the rest of the team. I don't really see how she's that redeemable. So the fact that they tried to kind of make her redeemable in this episode and then kind of redeem her at the very end, it felt very forced to me. And again, I just didn't buy it. I didn't like it, and it didn't work for me. And this was a very disappointing end, and also just a disappointing character arc for Emiko, who could have been a really cool character, and I was really excited for her introduction into the show this season. But, you know, this is kind of how it's ended. It's very disappointing. But anyway, after all that Emiko stuff goes down, we head into what I like to call the end of an era, where we have all the team go back to the bunker, and this was really lovely. Like, this was such a nice moment, and I have to say, I cried quite a lot in the back half of this episode, and this was where the crying started, was where we saw some of the team leave, like Bronze Tiger leaves. Surprisingly, Bronze Tiger does not die in this episode. I really thought he was going to, because they were going to set up the Diggle adopting his son storyline, but that doesn't actually happen in this episode, so I guess maybe we're going to see that next season. I really thought they were going to do it in this episode, given the fact they brought back Bronze Tiger, because Bronze Tiger just kind of comes out. Like, he's not really invited back, he just kind of shows up. Like, he's a very weird inclusion for this cast, and so I thought, well, if they're going to include a character like him so randomly, then they must be doing that story, right? But they don't. Like, there's actually no payoff to that at all, so I'm assuming we're going to get that next season. But Bronze Tiger leaves. Also, it seems like Roy is leaving again, which kind of upsets me. I really hoped that Roy would perhaps be sticking around next season, but it seems like he is leaving. There's no real confirmation that he's leaving, but it seemed like, you know, by the way his character was acting and what he said, he was leaving, so I guess he does. Also, Laurel leaves, but we know Laurel's back next season. That's been confirmed anyway. But then they also do get the Mark of 4. Like, they discuss the Mark of 4. They talk about the 4 pillars of heroism, and they talk about how they need a way of symbolizing that, so they kind of, you know, foreshadow the Mark of 4 there. Little bit crowbarred in, but, you know, whatever. It's not too big of a deal. And then what was lovely is we had Oliver and Felicity officially deciding to leave and retire, because Emiko basically said, you know, your family will never be safe, that your family will always be a target of the Ninth Circle. And there's a beautiful little shot when we had all the lights going off in the bunker, and you had the final shot on Oliver's face looking directly down the camera with the lights going off and everything cutting to black. I thought that was a beautiful shot. Like, if this is the last time we're going to see the bunker, which it could be, like, that was such a beautiful way to end it. Honestly, if they wanted to end the episode on that shot, I thought it would have been great. That also could have been a really cool series finale ending shot. And, you know, it felt just like this really awesome moment where you had Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity saying goodbye to the bunker, especially Oliver and Felicity. Diggle's not entirely done, but Oliver and Felicity saying goodbye to the bunker. And it was just a really nice moment, and the way it was all shot, the way it was all framed, I thought was perfect. So we then cut to like a montage where we see Diggle take Oliver and Felicity to that, you know, house in the countryside that we saw in episode 16, and we get to see, you know, kind of Oliver and Felicity living their life. We get to see Mia be born, and then we get to see like kind of Oliver a little bit being a father, which is really nice. There was just some really nice tender moments in these scenes where we got to see like Oliver like sleeping on the chair, holding Mia, things like that, and you know, because obviously we've never seen Oliver and Mia actually together, so to actually see, you know, Oliver have a little bit of fatherhood there with Mia was really, really nice to see. It was a nice, you know, again, just nice little tender moments that I really appreciated, and it was just like, you know, a nice little breather after all the action that went down with Emiko. But then the Monitor shows up. Obviously, the Monitor being the character from the Elseworlds crossover, we knew that Oliver made a deal with him during Elseworlds, but we never found out what that deal was. We still don't necessarily know what the deal was. He kind of shows up and says, right, it's time, and Oliver's like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to go now, and it was really strange because the Monitor is basically talking about how Oliver is going to have to go with him to kind of readdress the balance that was obviously kind of unsettled after he made him save Kara and Barry in the Elseworlds. So I don't really know exactly what's going on. They do basically confirm that Oliver dies in Crisis because he says, you know, I've been ahead in time during the crisis that's coming. I've seen your death. You do die during this crisis. So they confirm that Oliver does die in Crisis. But, you know, there's another thing I'll talk about in a minute, but, you know, it doesn't seem like Oliver is dead. So I really don't know what's going on with the Monitor and Oliver, and I don't know how that's going to tie into Crisis. Obviously, this is the big Crisis setup for Arrow, and I don't understand quite where they're going with it. So, you know, I really don't have much explaining to do on this front because I don't understand myself, and I'm waiting to see kind of what information we get going forward. It just felt a bit random because, again, we don't still really know what's going on, and it just added more questions. However, the goodbye scene with Oliver and Felicity was truly, truly emotional. I was crying my eyes out, I'm not going to lie. I was fully gone watching this scene. It was a little long, like the scene was a little long, and also the music choice was terrible. I don't know why shows do this, like where they put like this kind of song in there to kind of emotionally manipulate you when it should be powerful enough by itself, which this scene in my opinion was. It was just a really emotional, you know, scene where I think Stephen Amell was amazing. His acting was phenomenal in this scene. Also, Emily Bett was great in this scene as well. And it really felt like, you know, these two as actors were saying goodbye to each other, which you really felt through the acting. And I really liked that. And again, it was a really nice moment, a goodbye moment between Oliver and Felicity that, you know, it had to come. Obviously, this being Felicity and Emily Bett's final episode, they had to do that. And it just, you know, they hit it home, in my opinion, with the emotion. It really hit me in my core, and like I say, I think it did for a lot of people too. Now, the flash forwards in this episode, we do get everything kind of wrapped up in this. Basically, they take down the wall, so the wall's no longer a thing, so Star City is no longer divided. And the old crew basically leave, so Roy, Dinah, Renee, and Felicity, they all leave, and they kind of pass the book onto the new team of heroes, which is Mia, William, Connor, and Zoe. So I guess William will be like Overwatch, Mia will be Green Arrow, Connor will be like the new Spartan, and then Zoe will be the new Black Canary, and also Zoe is now the leader of the Canaries. So, you know, they kind of set that up. And then at the very, very end, we do see Felicity bring Mia and William to Oliver's grave, and, you know, she says goodbye to them, that she has to go now. And then on top of that, she actually meets the Monitor in the future, and she says, I'm ready, and the Monitor takes Felicity to see Oliver, but we don't actually see Oliver. So again, Oliver is clearly not dead, because he may be dead as far as the public are concerned and as far as Star City is concerned, but he's not actually dead, because again, Felicity is now going to see him, and it looks like the Monitor and Felicity go through, you know, like a breach, like what Cisco has on the Flash. It looks like they go through a breach. So Oliver, is he on another Earth? Is he in another universe? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is crazy setup for Season 8. I mean, obviously, I'm going to do a separate video because it's, you know, this video is kind of long enough as it is, but this is crazy, crazy setup, not only for Crisis, but I have no idea and no clue what they're going to be doing for Season 8. Like, I don't know exactly how they're going to continue the story, because apparently it seems like Diggle and Renee and Dinah are going to be carrying on as vigilantes, but then Felicity is obviously going to be living separately, and then Oliver has gone off with the Monitor. So, you know, is Oliver going to be like separate next season, doing his own storyline with the Monitor, and then we had like Diggle, Renee, and Dinah holding down the fort in Star City, which they could be doing that, but again, I really have no idea. I don't know where next season's going to go, and it's just crazy in that way that we're kind of speculating about all this stuff. Overall, though, this was a alright finale for Arrow, I'll be honest. It's not the strongest finale they've ever done. It's a bit messy. It's also very rushed as well, especially the first half of the episode is very, very rushed. Like the whole Emiko thing, wrapping up that in the Ninth Circle. It was just very, very rushed. And I don't know if the Ninth Circle are necessarily done for. I have a feeling the Ninth Circle are going to remain as the villains next season. Well, at least for, you know, however long we need a villain, it will be the Ninth Circle. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do next season at all, but this particular finale, it was a bit messy, it was a bit rushed, but when you get into the back half, the emotion was really there. I think they did a really good job of sending off this season, which in my opinion has been a pretty good season of Arrow overall, and also sending off Emily Bett as Felicity. They did a really good job of ending off that character as well in a really beautiful way, and I think the acting was great. I think the action overall was great, and I think this episode, like I say, in terms of like the finales, I don't know where exactly I'd rank it, probably in the middle to bottom half, to be honest, but it's still a decent send-off to what has been a great season of Arrow overall. And I feel like this episode, you know, if you're a fan of the show, you will really find a lot of emotional moments in here that you will particularly enjoy, and it's a decent send-off overall. So thank you guys for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always, guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow. And with all that said, guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.